Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio and the Spiritist Society of Virginia, here with you in one more Friday Inspirational Talks. What a joy to be here, isn't it? To be together. We're going to be studying a topic that it's all about us. Some people ask us, why do we need to study and read so much in Spiritism? It's all about books and messages. Well, God built us in such a way that we have an intelligence to be educated and develop. And Spiritism comes as the science of the spirits. For spirits, we are immortal spirits. So you and I, in order to evolve and reach the light of perfection, not this perfection that keep us tight and no, or uptight. No, it's this very soothing perfection that we see in Master Jesus. That's the promise. But to reach that level, we need to know, to experience, to love. And Spiritism comes to open our minds. So good to know that there is always more to know. It's humbling and at the same time very, very intriguing, inspirational, very motivational. So here we are today with our team. We have here with us Deise and Luciana, right? Deise and Luciana.
Yeah. Hi, Vanessa.
Thank you. And also we have Paloma and Carol in the other channel, giving the lesson for children. It's about one of Jesus' miracles, a beautiful one. Each and every miracle was beautiful, but the one that they put together today is very special. So we recommend that you keep your children watching there. It's only 30 minutes with activities. And while they're there, we're here. We're going to talk about Earth and us. We live on Earth. Earth is our home. When people ask you, what's your address? You say, I live, in the country. And after the country, the continent. And after the continent, the planet. It's our home. Our home is the Earth. When we talk to other spirits around the universe, we are terrestrial beings. We are terrestrial beings. We live on Earth. And while on Earth, we need to know why we're here. What is it about Earth and us, right? So let us begin. We'll quickly open a message here that is very inspirational. We'll read just an excerpt to inspire us and then go on. Just a millisecond. The Gospel according to Spiritism. It says, it's about give freely what you have received freely. Chapter 26 of the book, The Gospel According to Spiritism. It's about the gift of healing. Restore health to the sick. Raise the dead. Heal lepers and cast out demons. Give freely what you have received freely. This is in Matthew chapter 10, verse 8. And then Kardec explains in one paragraph, give freely what you have received freely, Jesus said to his disciples. But this precept, he prescribes that one should not charge for something one has not paid for. What the disciples had received freely was the faculty of healing the sick and casting out demons, that is, evil spirits. This gift was given to them freely by God for the healing of those who were suffering and for the spreading of the faith. He told them not to make a business of it, an object of speculation, or a way to make a living. So, inspired by these words of Jesus and Kardec, let us pray. How special it is always to pray together. Let us visualize ourselves for those who belong or are already affiliated to the Spirit side of Virginia. Let us visualize ourselves right there inside the center, in that cozy environment, and feel the presence of the good spirits with us. We're going to put some background music to help us. Dear Master Jesus, you came to teach us the way to the truth and a new life. And you presented it all in such simplicity that today it's still misunderstood. You daily invite us to inner renewal. We want to go with you. Like Joanna of course, we want to follow you. We want to serve you, especially here on earth, where humanity is seeking for relief. We know there are many who are thirsty for love, hungry for affection, for acceptance. We want to visualize our planet in your arms, feeling the rays of healing light from your heart, enveloping every one of us. Our blue planet, our home, sacred and in need of new awareness from us. May this moment be deeply therapeutic for all of us in two realms. May we feel your presence, your guidance, as you grant us the permission to another Friday inspirational conversation, inspirational talk with you amongst ourselves. And so be it. How special we see Narciso, John the Rosa, Daniel. So good to have you guys here and more friends. I know not everyone is saying hi, but feel free to make your comments, to ask questions. Let's make it as interactive as possible. All right. We're going to begin usually with our Spirit's Book moment, and Deise is going to lead the way, right, Deise?
That's right, Vanessa. And the Spirit's Book moment of tonight has everything to do with the topic of tonight's study. And this was completely, we know, not by chance, but it was planned by the mentors. But tonight we are entering the part 4 of the Spirit's Book, chapter 1. And in this part 4, we're going to learn more about hope and consolation. So The question tonight is 920. And Kardec asked the spirits, can people enjoy complete happiness while on earth? Do we think we can enjoy completely happiness while here on earth? It's a question that all of us have. And if we go around and we ask people on the street, and they will say, I want to be happy, I want to be happy, I want to be happy. But we need to know what is the status of our planet that we're living in, so that when things happen in our life, we are aware. And the spirits come and they say, very straightforward to all of us. They don't sugarcoat. They say, no, we cannot enjoy this complete happiness while here on earth, because life has been given to them, to all of us, has either a trial or an expiation. It is up to them to mitigate their misfortunes and be as happy as possible while on earth. So, the planet that we're living in, friends, is a reminder. We're here either as a trial, as in a school that we learn the lesson, but we need to take the exam. So, we're here to pass the test. Yes, there will be several tests, but there are also going to be expiation. We're going to be given the chance to once again come in contact with our conscience. And depending on our deeds of the past, we're going to come back to expiate. Yes, to have the opportunity to start anew. But does that mean that we never will never be happy? No, that's not what they're saying. But they say, well, use this time to mitigate your misfortunes and be as happy as possible while here on earth. So just by reading this short message, it already brings consolation to our hearts, because we're going to look at the events in our lives with a different lenses. Remembering, yes, as we're going to learn tonight, our planet is progressing. We're marching towards a happy planet. But while we're here on earth, let us take advantage of the time that has been given to us so that we can learn the lesson and pass the test.
Thank you, Deise. Thank you for this moment, so fitting for the topic we're going to talk about, right? We're going to talk about the earth, and we need to know what can be done on earth. So when we talk about the earth, I want to bring... Yeah, Carlos is just double checking here for us, the system. Thank you, Carlos, for helping us. And, oops, just a second. I am opening the slides again, right here, to show just a picture. It's mostly a picture, so we can feel what we're talking about. Sharing. Okay. Earth and us, right? So when we talk about the earth, where does it begin? In the book, there's a book, it's already in English. In the Way to the Light, On the Way to the Light, by Emmanuel, through Chico Xavier. It was published in 1938. It's unbelievable, because we are in 2021. Sorry. Yeah, 1938. We're in 2021, and we see how this book is so deep into the knowledge of our spirituality, the spirituality of our planet, the history of humankind according to the good spirits. So here we have a paragraph in chapter 1. It talks about the planetary genesis of the earth. So it talks about how the earth was formed. And the subtitle is community of pure spirits. So the good spirits through Emmanuel tell us that the traditions in the spiritual realm say that a community of pure spirits elected by the Supreme Lord of the universe organized our planet. That community of angelic and perfect beings, in which Jesus is one of the members, they got together around the earth to solve problems in terms of organization and directions of the earth twice in the course of the millennia. The first time that this group of perfect angelic spirits got together was when the terrestrial orb was coming out, was detaching from the solar nebula. And that was the first time they got together. The second time, when they were deciding on the coming of Master Jesus to the earth. So, of course, the chapter is all about the beginnings of our planet, the first times on Earth, talking about the evolution, the creation of the moon. It talks about the solidification of matter here and the cooling of the system. And it talks about also Jesus as the divine sculptor of our planet. So Jesus knows everything about our planet way before we even were living on planet Earth. Where were we before? I don't know. It could be that we were living in another planet, that we were not even created. Only God knows the answer. What we know is that when Jesus was already perfect and angelic, we were not here. We were not even here. So it's important to read this chapter of the book, On the Way to the Light, to see the extent of work from on high. Nowadays, many people don't understand why Jesus is a big deal. I didn't understand it either, even though I was born in a spiritist family. I didn't understand till I started reading these books myself. Then I could certainly start grasping. But every time we read these books, we have the feeling that there's so much more to know. Just to think, it's like this. You have children, but before your children were born, you worked so hard. You got married, and then you built the house. You put everything together, children came. And they grow without noticing of the hard works you've done. This is how we are regarding Jesus and God. We have no idea what Jesus went through to build this planet for us, with a community of spirits who are at Christ level. They are Christ-like spirits. Does that bring gratitude in us? Does this bring another sense of why we're here, what we need to do? So when we read a little more here on this first chapter, and this is a teaser because it's already in English. You can buy at Amazon.com, On the Way to the Light by Emmanuel, through Chico Xavier. It revisits statements that you're going to find in the Bible when he talks by the word in the creation of the planet. What was on the behind the scenes of it all? the formation, the creation of the beings. So we know, you and I know, that there is form of life beyond our planet. Of course, we in Spiritism know it doesn't make any sense to think that there's this huge universe and we are the only inhabited planet. This is so childish on our side to think that we are the only inhabitants of the universe. It's almost silly to think that we're the only ones. Of course, we're not. Today, the Chinese mission, space mission, landed in Mars, and now they are trying to find life in Mars. 2021, and China itself is there with their very technology to identify and seek if there is life. We know, of course, there is life. Chapter 3 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. In my Father's house there are many dwellings, and we know there are many planets. And the beauty of it all is that each planet is a different type of school. So our school on earth is all about still of trials and expiations. What does that mean, Vanessa? Well, it means that on earth, in this school, we're learning, but we're going through tests. And we're going to redress choices of the past by feeling it on ourselves. It's what we call expiation. But we're transitioning at this very time, 2021, we are in a transition period to regenerative worlds. What is a regenerative world? Which shall sprout very evidently in 2057, according to Chico Xavier. So, what is the difference between trials and expiations and regenerative worlds? The first one, evil still prevails. And no doubt, when you watch the news, when you see what we're seeing happening nowadays, you can still tell that though the knowledge of the good is becoming ever more mainstream, we still allow lots of inequalities, injustices, and prejudices to come around, and not to mention the worst of them all, white supremacy. White supremacy is the cancer that is eating up our society on earth. It was already the cause of the Holocaust, and it's coming back to haunt all of us on earth, in America and throughout the world. Why? Because it's about pride. When we think that our race is better than other races. So it's good to read this book, On the Way to the Light, to rid ourselves of these silly prejudices that are just illusions, because today we're reborn in the body of a white person. Next life, only God knows where we're going to be born. And make no mistake, reincarnation is a fact, whether we like it or not, whether we deny it or not. Science has already proved it throughout the hundreds of papers by Ian Stevenson, Jim Tucker, and many others at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. There we have the living proof. They state reincarnation exists, but people don't know what to do with it, because it shall change the way we feel about ourselves and others. It changes the way even we educate ourselves and our children. So right now on earth, knowing why the races came onto the earth, why ancient civilizations were so powerful, and some of them have disappeared in their power, like the Chinese Empire, the Egyptian Empire, the empire, the Greek, and also the Roman Empire. Where did that come from? Lots of development that now seem to be vanished from those civilizations and transplanted onto other civilizations. When we read the book On the Way to the Light, we come across a better understanding of the spiritual organization that presides the earth. So right now, Christ is at the helm. He's at the helm, Jesus Christ. And there is governance. Though we have our free will, there is limit to that free will. So now we're going to recap a little bit to understand who we are as spirits. We understand a little bit about the formation of the earth, the phases that it went through, the evolution of our species in terms of the physiological body, the physical body, but all coordinated by the evolution of the paraspiritual body that is formed since we were created, as explained in André Luiz's book, Evolution into Worlds. For those who want to watch the series on Evolution into Worlds, just go to Kardec Radio's Facebook page, the playlist Evolution into Worlds, or go to Kardec Radio's YouTube. Evolution into Worlds is the playlist, and you can watch each and every chapter in the beautiful slides that come along explaining about the genesis of the earth and the evolution of ourselves from the spiritual perspective to the material angle. Now I'm going to pass the word to Deise again, because she's going to lead us into the understanding about spiritual genesis. Because today we're studying mostly, but not only, I didn't mention, because Deise is going to mention now, it's all about Genesis by Kardec. The book Genesis, where he summarizes much of it, later extended by Emmanuel in the book On the Way to the Light. Right, Deise?
That's right, Vanessa. And it's beautiful for us to see, as Vanessa is mentioning, how these books, they come along as we're talking about books, and they complement each other. So tonight, we extract a lot of the excerpts from the Genesis by Allan Kardec. This is on chapter 11, items 1 to 9. But if you go back to the Spirit's book, it matches perfectly with Kardec also brought in the Spirit's book. And later on, of course, as Vanessa mentioned, the beautiful books by Chico Xavier, especially Evolution into Worlds. If you want to read more about the evolution of humanity on Earth, we definitely recommend that book. But what is the spiritual principle? When we talk about the spiritual principle, what are we referring to? So let us go through some of the explanations that the higher spirits brought by Kardec to all of us. And he starts this chapter, chapter 11, and in the high spirits through Kardec explains to us that there are two elements in the universe, material and the spiritual elements. And they constitute the principles of the universe, as intelligence and thought cannot be attributes to matter. So let us recap. We brought this diagram in our study a few weeks ago, but it's important for us to recap that above everything is God. God is the supreme intelligence of our universe. God is above all of us and everything. He's the creator. But there are two other elements, as Kardec states here, for all of us. There's the spiritual element, which are the spirits, all of us. But there's also this material element, matter, the organic and inorganic bodies of nature. And yes, we need those two elements, and we will see how we need matter in order to progress. But the lesson and the important reminder for all of us tonight is to remember that we are spirits. We are the intelligence principle. And as spirits, we are not this physical body. So, yes, we might be at this point reincarnated in this body, but the spirits mentors of Spirit Society of Virginia or Kardec Radio, they always remind us to do an exercise every day, picturing ourselves not as this physical body as we see in the mirror, but as this immortal spirit. You can think of it as a flame. Think about its texture, its color. How do you see yourself as a spirit? And that brings us comfort because we are not bound by the challenges of our physical bodies, either because of our illnesses, because of a disability, or as we start to age and we look back and we cannot do the things that we used to do. Yes, the physical body ages, but the spirit never ages, right? Have we heard about an old spirit? No, so the spirits continue to progress. But Kardec continues explaining because a lot of people have a hard time distinguishing the spirit and matter. Is matter intelligent? So let's see what Kardec brings to us. He says, the existence of a spiritual principle is a fact needing no more demonstration than does the existence of the material principle. According to the maximum, all effects have a cause. All intellectual effects have an intelligence cause. So, in order to illustrate this, Kardec, the higher spirits, brings to us the analogy of a bell. Do we think the bell acts by itself? Does the bell has an intelligence to move from one side to the other? Or is it an intelligent principle that is using the bell as an instrument to ring? But the bell itself, if we stop, right? Spiritus brings to us this doctrine that it makes us stop and really reason. So we reason, well, the bell by itself cannot ring. So, as Kardec states, one concludes that it is moved by an intelligence, or which serves as an instrument of manifestation. Kardec himself saw this when he started to hear about what in his time was the turning tables, these movements, and people thought that the spirits were inside the table. And later on, he learned that the tables, the spirits were using the tables as an instrument of their manifestation. So that for us is the distinction. As spirits, yes, we act upon matter. We use matter as an instrument, but we are not matter. We're spirits. So he continues in saying, well, God is so just, supreme, that he created all spirits, simple and ignorant, with an equal aptitude to progress by their individual activity. So when we look at all of us, and in our society nowadays, it's so common to compare ourselves with others. We need to remind ourselves we were all created simple and ignorant. And ignorant here is this lack yet of knowledge. We need to acquire the knowledge, and as Vanessa stated at the beginning of tonight's study, the importance of studying, of reading the books. Yes, we need to study in order to evolve. Progress is the normal condition of spiritual beings and relative perfection to the object to which they must attain. So let us take a step back, and as we think about ourselves as this spiritual principle that was created simple and ignorant. Again, if we reason it, could we then already be created and be in the body and the shape of humans? No, humans are already very evolved, right? If we look at the different kingdoms that we see in our planet, the animals, the plants, the minerals. So, it all starts. So, Kardec and the Genesis and also the Spirit's book starts by saying, well, first we have what we call the inorganic beings, those that are formed of matter alone. They don't have this vitality, this intelligence. And this is what we call the mineral kingdom. Yes, they have this spiritual principle all there, dormant still. But yes, they are part of our history. So we can say for certain, all of us in this planet, in other planets, we don't know, but we all were part of the mineral kingdom. And as we go through these internships in matter, we start to develop different and acquire different acquisitions that will make us evolve. And in the book Evolution into Worlds, it's beautiful to see through André Luiz the details of how we start to develop these different characteristics as we go through these different stages, these different internships in matter. But after the mineral kingdom, and this here, as the Spirit say for us, is a very simplified way, right? We're bringing here a very simplified way, but to help us understand and appreciate the planet that we live in. So after the mineral kingdom, then it comes the plant kingdom. Yes, it's these animate beings, it's still non-thinking, formed of matter, but they already have vitality, different from the mineral kingdom. But they don't have intelligence yet. So when we look at our planet, we look at the flowers, at the gardens, at the beautiful nature, it makes us appreciate it much more because, yes, even though they cannot feel yet, they don't suffer, but it's still part of our history and they are in their pathway to progress. So if we have a plant at home, we take care of it. And when it dies, we are appreciative for the time that is spent helping our homes, right? And we are thankful to it, but we are not violent against the plants, right? We take care of it and we appreciate them. After the plant kingdom, then comes the animal kingdom. And here we can already see our evolution. We are endowed with this vitality similar to the plant, but now animals possess this intelligent principle. It still needs to evolve, but the principle is there. They have the ability to think. And we see this in the different animals, like when we know a dog can learn so much. Dolphins considered one of the most intelligent animals on our planet. So we see that even inside the animal kingdom, yes, there's different stages, there's different categories. So when we have a pet at home or we know how to take care of our planet, we look at animals as our companions in lives, and they are also progressing and one day to become humans like us. But then we get to what we know, the human level. And what is the difference between us and animals? Well, we can say we still have so much to learn, right? Because we see those animalistic instincts. But humans, they have something that animals don't. We have first free will, as Vanessa stated. We can make our own choice, of course, given limits, but we have free will. But we also have conscience. We have the laws of God written in our conscience, even if we are aware or not. So we're gonna come in contact with our conscience sooner or later. As we continue in this part of the Genesis, now Kardec brings to us the importance of reincarnation. As we get to the human kingdom, there's still so much to learn. In the Spirit's book, we get to know that there are different levels on a spirit hierarchy. So even as we are in the human level, there's still a long ladder to climb until one day we get to Jesus' level, a pure spirit. And he explains to us also in question 132 in the Spirit's book that God imposes incarnation for the purpose of leading spirits to perfection. Could we do all in one reincarnation? No, we need many internships in this contact with matter so that we can come to this perfection. He says one would not be able to conceive a God sovereignly just and good, creating intelligible and sensible beings who are destroyed after an ephemeral existence. Again, Kardec is bringing us to reason. Would it make sense if God is the supreme intelligence, if God is just, why would create this spiritual principle to then come and after one existence be completely destroyed, right? It doesn't really make sense. So God gives us the opportunity to come back. Incarnation has a further objective, huh? So one is to perfect ourselves, but is there's a second objective? Yes, it is, which is to place the spirits in situations where we can share in the work of creation. Kardec is reminding us that we are co-creators. God created us, but he also gave us the opportunity to co-create with him because he is all loving towards us. Why he would create spirits and don't give us the opportunity to co-create with him? So God is counting on us to come to earth and do what? He says, in each world, they clothe themselves with an instrument that is in harmony with the essential matter of the world so that they may use it to carry out the orders of God. So we are here to perfect ourselves, but we are also here to co-create with God, obeying his laws. So let us pay attention that Kardec's not saying you're here to do whatever you like, whatever you think is right. No, we're here to co-create with God. And how we can co-create with God? Well, starting with what we have most power through, which is ourselves, is starting by perfecting ourselves, by reading and studying these books and get to know about the laws of God and applying them to ourselves so that through our actions it can manifest around us. But then now you might be asking, how does this process of reincarnation happens? How does this connection, as we see in this picture, this connection through the different phases in our lives as we are about to reincarnate once again? How does this union happen between the spirit and the matter? In this way, I'm going to invite our friend Luciana to join us and continue in the study so she can tell us more about how this union happens.
Hi, friends. So, how beautiful and how important is for us to do the readings in the Genesis and all these teachings that we received, because that's how we're going to understand us as immortal, as a spiritual that lives eternally, right? We have been created by God, but we always ask, when are we, right, eternal beings? When are we divine? When we have this principle connect to us. So in this part of the Genesis, it's still in chapter 11, but this part is talking about the unit of the spiritual principle with the matter. We have a lot of questions. We still trying to understand, right? We have a lot of discussions in our daily routines. We can watch the TV and see that we still not 100% decide when life is created, right? That's why we still discuss about abortion. So this part of the chapter we will learn when this connection is made. And it's important for us to study and learn how it happens. So let us continue. So this is item 10 to 14. And on item 10, we can see here that in this Genesis brought to us that matter is being the object of the work of the Spirit for the development of of his faculty. So the matter is created for the Spirit to come and to work into this matter, in this planet, right? The physical matter. As we see, we are reincarnated. Vanessa mentioned to us in the beginning, we are in this planet. There's other planets, there are other places, there are other lives, right? But here, as we talk about planet Earth, we know that we have this reincarnation coming, and that is when our spirit is receiving a body. He's receiving the matter, the physical. So our spirit come in this reincarnation to live in the best way possible to progress. So a matter is the work of the spirit to develop his faculty. So our body is created for us to develop the spirit, not the other way around. So life is created at the moment that we are conceived, because right there in this moment in time, we already have the preparation of the spirit that has been living for a while, coming and getting prepared to be in the physical. And at this time, when they're being generated there, he's being in the sleeping mode, but he's going to come, being born, and will live the life that is necessary for that reincarnation. So once we are being gestated, coming to the planet, we know that our body is going to be exactly what is necessary for us to progress. So with that, a lot comes clear to us, because knowing that the body that we are going to receive is what our spirit needs, we know and we understand now clearly about the deficiency. We understand why some people has different types of body. We understand how people live different, have different missions, right? Because imagine if we all come here and have exactly the same mission. That wouldn't work. We wouldn't progress. The world is always going to be doing the same. We can see beautiful missionaries. We can see Chico Xavier, Mother Teresa, all these different spirits that came and have different physical bodies, in order to fulfill their missions here. So for us, it's important to remember our body is what we need for the spirit to grow. So our body is a reflection of the spirit. So whatever the spirit looks like and need, right? We know the spirit is like a flame, like Deise mentioning. But for the spirit to be able to grow, we have this physical in which we have the perispirit. So that's why when we say we see a spirit in mediumistic meetings or wherever people say, we actually are seeing their perispirit because it's in the form of the human body. So as we continue, it is necessary and it should be able to act upon matter. So again, what we have is for the spirit be able to work and co-create. And then the second part it says, the body is then at the same time develop and the instrument of the spirit. So again, the body is just the envelopment of this instrument of the spirit. So we are created, it is immortal being as a spirit, and then our body is here for us to be able to move around, to be able to do the work, to be able to be developing all the tasks that we have in life. So it's very interesting, right? And what else? As we continue, in order to be more exact, it is necessary to say that it is in the spirit self which fashionate is developed and appropriates in the new needs. So God allows us, right, to come to the flesh as we need to progress. So we come and we connect with this matter way before. So before we are reincarnated, we know we are already coming closer to the family that we're supposed to come together. Everything has been planned in the spiritual realm for us to have this matter in this physical body. So God allows us to go through this and plan for us to evolve. It brings towards perfection the development and completes the organism by measuring as an experience the need of the manifesting the new qualities. In the word, it makes him in accordance with his intelligence. God furnishes the material for the work. It is up on the spirit to put into functioning. So we have our physical body, but the spirit has the mission. The spirit knows what it has to be doing. As we learned before, we have that in our mind already, right? When we went through all the principles, all the mineral kingdoms, the plant, right? We start to develop and growing, and we know when we came like animals, we already know a little bit more, but when we become humans, we have a lot of God in us. And then it's up to us, right? With this intelligent, spiritual knowledge to act in this physical body and work. So look how beautiful it is. We see like lights of creations coming and helping us to come to life. So we as an immortal spirit need to be working, putting in practice all that we are planning and have received in the spiritual realm. And as coming back here, he's continued to saying, right, that if we check chapter 5, number 7, the spirit on the earth, it is important to point it out in this part that organic development is always in accordance with the development of the intellectual principle. Again, We're saying again, over and over and over, that the spirit, it is what dictates about the matter. So that's why we say when we are sick, we want to take care of our spirit, of our soul, because that is what projecting in our matter. And then also in that same item number 7, he says, the soul needs an instrument adequate to the importance of the function it should carry out. So the soul needs the instrument, the physical body. So we need this physical body in order to carry out our deeds, our mission, whatever we have to do while we are incarnating. And we are called daily to be doing something. If we meditate, if we think about it and have the connection with God, we're always being called to do something spiritually, right? And on the item 12, he continues saying, as soon as the spirit is born into self-conscious life, it must for the advances make use of the faculties. So then we come again and say, what do we have in life? What can I be doing, right? That's why the hands, illuminated hands. What is the talents that we have received in the spiritual realm that we can bring it here, right? So we have to connect everything. So with this faculty that we have, we need to put in practice. We need to use the talents that we have. And we use the faculties, which are the first in the ruminative state. That is why it is invested with the material envelopment is appropriate to the state of intellectual infancy. So when we are born, we don't know everything. We cannot do everything, right? But as we start growing, we can acquire more and we can do much more, right? So when we are created and when we are reborn and we are reincarnated, we still have to go through this process of childhood and keep growing so we can actually to progress, because everything that we know, not everything in the spiritual realm will bring here, but we are progressing. We are children of God, and we are always going forward, mature, making us more mature and learning more. So even when we are born and have our talents, we have like the level, different levels when we are a child, what we are supposed to be doing. That's why it's very important for us to be teaching the children, the new generation, and then put in practice with our hands all the faculties of the spirit in the matter. And on part 13, the bodies being exclusively matter are subject to the vicissitudes of matter. Bodies being exclusively material are subject to the vicissitude of the matter. So again, dear friends, we are trying to make this connection that when we are principles, when we are spirit, when we are coming to the matter, making this connection. And then on item 14, the body is then simply an envelope to receive the spirit. So we have this body to receive the spirit that is in need to go through this life, to this experience. And it is not by his investment that the man is elevated by the brute, but the made it a unique being of the spirit. So we are not what we see. We are much more. We are this mortal spirit, and we have so much beauty inside, and God and Jesus already know and trusting us and see us so perfect. But right now, we are living this reincarnation and we are progressing to get better. So in this part, it's just to show us that the body that we have is what we need for now. But as we progress, as our spirit is more aligned with this divinity, we won't need this body, we'll need something else. So this is this part of the Genesis, dear friends, for us to know when we really make this connection with the matter and how we need to think about when we are deciding about life.
Wow, Luciana and Deise, so much knowledge, right? That's why it's so important to read these books, because once we get that information, it changes our lives. That understanding will make us make decisions regarding life and death, right? So nowadays, let's just go back to something Luciana mentioned about abortion. We know it's a difficult topic to talk about, but we need to talk about. We can't escape. And we don't judge, because if we have not done abortion in this life, in previous lives we certainly have incurred. That's a sure thing. But when we do it, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know. Because once we get to know that there is a spirit connected to that body inside of the woman's body is not us. I, as a woman, I confess to you, when I got pregnant, which only happened once in my life, only once, it was when I was pregnant of Virginia. I could clearly see that I was not alone. And I'm not crazy. I could tell that something was different. So when you talk to women who are pregnant, they know they are not alone. That body inside of them is not them. Even science says, and we were researching this together last week, that the heart beats at 5.5 weeks of gestation. So by a month and less than 2 weeks, like a month and 2 weeks, pretty much, there is life beating in a different speed than ours. The heartbeat of the baby is a completely different rhythm than the mom's heartbeat. We can no longer proclaim that it's my body, I do what I do what I want to do. So when we see people fighting for the right of abortion, we feel very sorry for them, because they don't know what they are asking. They are asking for the right to kill. They are asking for the right to kill. And not only women, but men who do not support women when they are pregnant, or even say, I want this child away, or we're not going to be together. They are more responsible, even more responsible than women. And we don't say this in a judgmental way, but we need to raise awareness. When Luciana brings to us the understanding of the union of body and spirit, the ultimate connection is this. Okay? Now, if somebody is here asking, but Vanessa, what about politics? When you support a candidate that says that they are going to give freedom for women to choose, I don't think that the candidates are doing this because they agree, but because people have the right to plan their gestation. It's not only about abortion, it's about giving people opportunity to plan their families. Family planning is very important. We're not talking about abortion. Family planning is very important. For those who want to read more about family planning, Go to the book After the Storm, which is in PDF format throughout the internet. Google it, After the Storm by Joana de Angelis de Valdo Franco. There's a whole chapter about family planning, contraceptives, and we will know more about the importance of planning our families and not simply letting go and whatever happens and we're going to deal with it. So we need to support family planning for the wellness of our society. And in regards to abortion, it's important that we do one-on-one work. If we find somebody who is with us and is about to make that decision, and you are the one who is listening to that person, make sure you do your best to save the life in that womb. Ask for help and even tell this person, we will find a way to support you, to support this child. Even if you don't want this child, give it to me. We'll find a way. Give it to us. Give this child to us, but do not kill it. It's going to be hard for you because all the statistics show that at the end of the aftermath of abortion is terrible. And if we want to read more about abortion and the consequences in the spiritual realm, and even the causes in terms of why we want to kill somebody who is about to reincarnate. Certainly there's a difference between the mother and that baby. Were there not, she wouldn't kill the baby. I'm sorry to use this word, but it's true. Read the book Action and Reaction. There are at least 2 chapters talking about it. So when we go to Kardec's book, The Genesis, and we study about earth, trials and expiations, to a world of regeneration, the genesis of us as spiritual principles, our whole evolution, coming to incarnations on earth and reincarnations here, we're being asked to value life. Right, Deise and Luciana. Would you guys like, yes, Deise, you want to add something, please?
This reminds me, Vanessa, as we were talking about, conception in this beautiful case that we already brought here many times about the reincarnation of Segismundo in the spirit, in the book, Missionaries of Light, because there we read how much work it is, because it's not as like, this spirit is going to reincarnate, but it's so much care by the higher spirits, as Carol brought to us a few weeks ago. Each cell, they are there from the division of each cell to taking care of the mom and the spirit who reincarnates. So we get to know in spirits is that nothing is by chance, and there is a higher purpose, and the higher spirits are there taking care of everything. So once we read that chapter, we really make us, stop and think, because it is so much planning that happens to bring that spirit among that family. So we recommend everyone that if you haven't had the opportunity to, read the book or watch the case that we described a few weeks ago, because it reminds me of that book. It's such an important description by Andrea Luiz.
Thank you, Deise. Luciana.
I was just reminding the talk that we had in the back, and we were mentioning how we can only understand the generation, the creation of life, if we are connected with the spiritual. Because if we're not, we are still making so many mistakes, right, Vanessa? We talked about it last week. And it is true, we need to be able to make this connection with the divine in us and really believe that life goes on, that everything is happening in this moment, but there's stuff that happened in the past because we have been created many years ago and we're still living. So when we put this in perspective, that we are eternal, that we are living, that there is reason why we live, we die, we live again, and we die. That's when we actually will understand about all this mess that is going on in the whole society.
Yes, it's so right. So, feeling the scriptures here today, we come to a consensus that it's important to love, to appreciate, not taking any longer for granted our lives, to imagine that it took us millions, billions of years to evolve to where we are. And now, this precious life that we're living, especially this one, when we have this knowledge of Spiritism, it's so good. It feels so good that we have everything we need to help ourselves and to help others. And there are many people who need a helping hand. There are many people who know even less. But it's important for us to share. That's why we have here Kardec Radio and the Spiritists out of Virginia and all these efforts to make sure that we share as much as we can so we can make wiser, healthier decisions, decisions that are more balanced. Going back to the book On the Way to the Light, Emmanuel, and forgive me because I have to just bring the book once again to quote Emmanuel in the introduction of the book. Just a second, friends, because in the introduction of the book, Emmanuel brings to us the importance of what we're studying here and now, at this very moment. He says, and I will quote, this was 1938. He says, the time has come when we're going to double check our terrestrial values to the new genesis of creative energies into a new world. So it's important that we remind ourselves of the mystic ascendance of all civilizations that have existed on Earth, to affirm the spiritual realities that preside all the transitory phenomena in our material world. So he's telling us that what presides our lives is the spirit. It's important to feel that we're spirits living on earth. This is the take-home message. The day we understand we're spirits, abortion will disappear. Inequalities will disappear. Prejudices will disappear. But why do they remain? Because we're still not only ignorant, but very materialistic. Because of our ignorance, very materialistic. Deeply ingrained in our illusions, ambitions, pride, selfishness, that leads us to decisions that are truly chaotic. Now, after so many lives, we need to make a decision that is more spiritual. So let us aim at greater spiritual goals, noble ideals. Talking about spiritual living, Jesus is our model. And I know Carol and Paloma, we'll bring them here now. They are here with us, right? Hello, Carol. Hello, Paloma.
Hello, dear Vanessa. Hello, friends.
Good to see you, friends. We want to give the adults here connected to us a feedback about the lesson that was being taught at the other channels of the SSVA and Kardec Radio on Jesus' miracle, because he is the model of how we should live and lead our lives. And miracles don't exist, but they are these events that happen when we are truly aligned with God's works. Would you tell us, Paloma and Care, a little bit about what you guys were teaching the children, please?
So the mother in the case that we studied the case of the son of the widow of Nain. And in this case, the mother is faced with the physical death of her son. And in an act of humility and in surrendering herself to God, she asked Master Jesus for help. Just like you were saying, once we become spiritualized, we make different decisions. And that mother, 2000 years ago, was already spiritualized. She already placed God above her own whims, which is something we are still learning how to do. So, because she placed God above everything else, she prayed, and Master Jesus answered by allowing her son to return to his physical life in a healthy manner, showing us how much the physical vest that we temporarily wear is valuable. How many right now may be transitioning to the spiritual realm and wishing that they could give one more hug, say one more word, and they can't because their time has come to an end. So the same is true for when physical life is beginning. That spirit is given a chance that is unlike any before. And it's not up to us to decide what to do. It's up to God. Right, Paloma?
Yes, Carol. And then what the second part of the teaching was how much gratitude they wanted to express for that healing that Jesus did. And that brings to us, and that's the reflection we had with the children, that we do need to recognize that one, we don't know it all. And with that, we thank God and we thank Jesus for the opportunities that are given to us, including the opportunity of this life. We should express gratitude, and we should express gratitude to the lives of others, even if it's just a tiny little thing in our womb. That is life, and we should express gratitude, recognizing that it came from God. It's divine. So it was a beautiful lesson and just perfect with your session here. Yes, wow. That's the direction. Thank you, Paloma. Thank you, Carol. And this is exactly what we need, the inspiration from Master Jesus. We can do it. For those who are there, oh my gosh, but I'm going through so much. I don't know. We say, breathe in and out and say, I can do it. With God, nothing is impossible. And actually, Bezerra de Menezes, because we're on earth, and our governor is Jesus Christ. He's the divine representative. He says in the book, The Spirit of Truth, without Christ, there's always a solution. With Christ, there is always a solution. Always a solution. So, whatever life presents to us, let's look at Christ and say, lead the way, please. Show me the way. And let us love the earth, love this planet that is a school. Teach our children about respecting the earth. We are at a critical moment on earth where we need to make choices that will benefit generations to come. And we will have to surrender to the general good to gravitate into the new earth. This new earth, as Kardec said in the Genesis in 1868, is repeated in the book by Eckhart Tolle, The New Earth, and is repeated today to us. It's an invitation. If you turn on the TV and you see people from the old school talking about, rest assured, they won't belong here, because the new earth is requesting, is actually hiring a new thought. We tell all parents, some parents come to us and say, I don't know which school I'm going to put them in, Waldorf or that school or the traditional one. Think about your child in the new world in 30 years. That world, if you teach them the old school of today, they're going to fail. Who is going to lead in the new world? The ones who are taught new things. So if you want your children to lead in the new earth when they grow up, lead in the sense, be harmonized enough to contribute with the earth, we need to teach them new things, things that are still not mainstream, but are needed to be taught in our schools, in our organizations, in our communities. Friends, we're going to wrap up now, as inspired as we are, feeling deeply committed with our planet. Let us pray together for our planet in gratitude for holding us so dearly in its soil, giving us so much. Nature is here on earth, enveloping us with its energies and life. Let us now give back in good thoughts, good feelings. If the trees release oxygen and gives us life, let us give the oxygen of our thoughts and feelings to everyone who lives on earth as well. Right? So we're going to ask Luciana to kindly lead us into the passes and Deise, the final prayer. Okay, friends?
One second. So let us close our eyes, breathing deeper. Feeling the loving energies that our Creator has provided to us since the beginning of life. Breathing in and out, we feel this loving embrace. We feel as we live in life the energies of the planet healing us and helping us to progress as we breathe in and out. Healing energies permeate our spiritual body, dissolving energies of lower vibration and recycling into new ones. Visualize this light turning above us, cleaning all our spiritual body. And now we feel lighter in the physical body as so many energy has been dispersed and recycled. We can feel better. We can hear, smell, and even visualize clearly these loving energies that is showering upon us as we are open to receive this healing treatment. that the doctors and nurses of the spiritual realm has been applying on us on behalf of our Creator. We feel that we are loved and being taken care of it. And we feel so great and very thankful for being able to connect with the divine in us in this reincarnation. We know that we are immortal spirit, and that changes everything for us. And as our spiritual body and the physical body continues to receiving the healing vibration from the divine, from the Creator, in gratitude, we'll pray with our dear friend Deise.
Dear loving God, Master Jesus, Creator of our blessed planet, what a joy, dear Master, to be part of planet Earth, this blessed planet that you, with illuminated and pure minds, have planned from the very first chemical reaction to where we are now. Please forgive us, dear Master, if we have in this life or previous lives not acknowledged this blessed planet, if we have misused its resources, or if we have mistreated those spirits who are still in the very stages of their lives. Dear loving Jesus, tonight we pray in gratitude from the minerals that provide the soil, the nourishment, to the plants that recycle the oxygen, that beautify our planet, to the animals who bring us so much joy and beauty, to us as humans, and our potential to co-create with you. Dear Master, we pray that our planet can be regenerated. And as we enter in this new stage, we put ourselves at your service to from now on, don't take life for granted, to acknowledge the uniqueness of this reincarnation and to work alongside you for the progress of ourselves and our planet. Praying for those who are still suffering deeply, for consolation and support in their lives. but trusting in your divine guidance and love to us, we ask your permission to close this meeting of tonight. And so be it.
What a joy, what a great feeling. Let us today spend this whole week thinking about Earth and us, being grateful to the planet, and co-creating this new Earth, aiming at all of our future. After all, it's very likely we're going to reincarnate here again. What am I to say? But if we do, it's going to be a better planet. So let us help it, right? Thank you, friends, for being with us. And until next time, don't forget, if you have a question, write to us at kardecradio@gmail.com. Thank you for this.